Hey, how is it going, everyone? Welcome to more MotorStorm. And you know that yesterday's stream, at first got blocked because there is a song that you cannot play on YouTube because it will just get your video blocking the whole world. I think I spot the song and I remove it from the playlist because thankfully the game has the ability to do that. But I don't know if I got the right one, because the thing is that it's not even the right name. Like, I think it's basically kind of like a scam, right? Like one of those like people that bring a song from another artist and claim it as their own. I think that's what happened. Apparently the song is called Goodbye in YouTube, which is a pretty ironic name for a song that does that. Well, nighttime, that's pretty nice. Well, pretty nice that I'm not gonna see shit, but anyways, the point is that Goodbye is not the name of the song. There is no song in this game called Goodbye, which means that, as I say, it's most likely a scammer like taking a song from another group and claiming it as their own, right? Well, the problem is that I still needed to mute the video because otherwise the video was blocked for the whole world. So there are some sections of the previous video that are unfortunately muted, but I cannot do anything about it. I did, as I say, for this one, that thankfully the game has a playlist feature that you can actually remove songs from the playlist. And I think the one that muted the video is the one that I removed. If it isn't, that's a double problem, not only because I'm gonna get my video muted again, but because the chances of that song to show up are higher. So I hope I didn't fuck it up, but it's pretty hard when the name of the song wasn't even the right one, you know? Like, I essentially got turbo scammed, but I hope it was the right one. If it is the one I think it is, it's called... Well, I don't know if it's the group or the song, the one that is called like the 99th something. It's like the first song that appears in the playlist. So I hope it's that one, not because I don't like the song, but rather because I don't want to get the video muted again, you know? We will see though. But yeah, that sort of shit sucks. And I was gonna blame as I always do, blame the music label, but here it's not an issue of the music label, because, as I said, it's like a completely different name that some random guy took from the song, or rather a random name that the guy assigned to a song that doesn't belong to him. So I cannot really blame the music label that owns the rights of the song, because clearly they cannot do anything about it. So yeah, that's a shame that we cannot hear that song, because it was a cool song. It kind of sounded like the typical, like, I don't know, 70s rock and roll song. It was pretty cool, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to get my video muted, you know? It really sucks that that sort of shit happens. I mean, I could, you know, report the song and be like, hey, this copyright doesn't belong to you. But I mean, I'm a nobody, so if I was a big YouTuber, maybe I could. I would still probably wouldn't really risk it, because I mean, what's the point? It has nothing to do with me, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty clearly a guy that stole a song. Or maybe, because you know that some songs use samples, but that's a very old song though, or at least it sounds like an old song. And back then, even though samples were still a thing, I don't think that song in particular uses any sample. And if anything, it wouldn't be detected in the whole song, so there's something odd there. But yeah, whatever. It's not my... I mean, it is my problem because it got my video muted. I mean that the copyright being stolen from the rightful owners is not my problem, but it sucks, of course. Anyways, that video though is still blocked, but not in the whole world, only in Israel, because apparently one of the copyright holders for one of the songs, you know, just blocks the reproduction of the video in Israel if you play their song. So yeah, I'm afraid that video is not available in Israel, but you know, not the first time that something like that happens for a specific territory. I mean, you know how often I get videos blocking Russia and Belarus because of a song appears there. So yeah, this time it happened for Israel. But yeah, the thing is that the other song, the one that blocked it in the whole world, well, that's the thing, it blocked it in the whole world. It didn't differentiate. No matter what country you're from, that video you cannot watch it. Essentially only I could watch it, because I mean I'm the owner of the video, of course. Anyone else that will try to enter and watch the video will be like, you know, this music label block the video. Wait, I'm gonna crash again? No, thankfully not. Anyways, the point is that I hope I didn't get it wrong, because if I got it wrong, as I mentioned, the chances for that song to show up will be even higher, since there is a smaller pool of songs. So yeah, we hope that the right song was removed and not the wrong one. But time will tell. And when I say time, I mean when I end the stream I will know, not before. But yeah, we will see what happens. Also, I really wasn't expecting, by the way, all this Tolgao copyright and shit distracted me from the fact that this is the first race that takes place on nighttime. I mean, I did mention it, but it's interesting because, yeah, the visibility is definitely worse. Not by a lot. Like, it's not like in Need for Speed Shift 2 where you really cannot see shit. Here you can still see well, but some corners are not that easy to know exactly where the... Wait, can this thing make this jump? I certainly hope so. Well, the guy there could make the jump. I could make the jump too. So this is the final corner, right? Yeah. Well, I win. Nice. Well, first nighttime race dominated on the first try, no problem. Yeah. Mud pool with bike. See, that's not so nice at all. It's fine. Well, bikes here don't really make that much of a difference. I mean, they are bikes, you know? They look like bikes. And yeah, they can look different, but I don't think it's as different of a thing as the other vehicle types, right? Also, today I investigated and saw how many MotorStorm games there are. There are 5. I thought there were only 3, but there are 5. Like, you basically have this one, well, Pacific Rift, as I mentioned yesterday, the game after this one. But then doesn't come Apocalypse. There is one that is called Arctic something, and surprisingly it wasn't released on PS3, it was released on PS2 and PSP, which doesn't make much sense, honestly. I guess they wanted something for the people that still didn't hop onto the next generation. Oh, I just realized there is a single truck amongst all these bikes. Ah, shit. Damn, I got hit by not even the truck, it was some other bike guy. And someone's flying. Oh, there is also a car. Yeah, I'm surprised that on the starting line I didn't see all those other vehicles. Yeah, I see them now. I gotta... going back to what I said before about the copyright for that song and all that shit. I'm really glad that this is a game that allows to change for... allows to change for what songs you want to play in the game and which ones you don't. Damn, I cannot steer. On the mud there, I couldn't steer at all. Just wasn't possible. And here the bike gets completely stuck. I mean, I can say it over and over again, but there is zero reason for you to pick a bike in this game. Like, unless you want style points. And also, to nobody's surprise, the truck is the one that is in first place. Who would have seen that coming? I wonder. As a bike driver here, you're intended to dodge the mud. Like, basically what I'm doing here is wrong. I should be on the side of the road, but it's not that easy to tell. Oh wait, no, that's not a car, or rather it is a car, but I mean that it's part of the track, it's not a competitor. Boom, damn, that was a clean hit. Should we be going here? I guess. Alright, so yeah, Mr. Truck will be an issue. Because yeah, no one can get close to him. Alright, I need to... Yeah, I mean, this... To nobody's surprise that will happen, but I tried to go there because I already went to the center in the previous lap and it went pretty badly. So you want to instead go here, to the side, where you don't hit the mud. Ah, shit. There is a steel mud on the side, though. God damn it. Yeah, this track for a bike is... Well, any track for a bike is terrible, but this one feels like a real issue. Oh. Well, that was your fault. But at the same time, yeah, going here would have been the superior idea. Dude, you cannot even crash with other bikes, because you just blow up. Like, you cannot do it. God damn it. Well, it's the same with quads. Bikes and quads are both... Nice hit. I should have done it first, but I didn't. Yeah, I don't think I'm winning this one personally, but you never know. Well, phew, nice dodge, but yeah. And you do anything and you get into an accident with bikes, it's insane. It really is insane. They really need to buff them. Well, I think that in Pacific Rift I remember the vehicles being more balanced. I mean, bikes were still trash, but I think that they were slightly better. I don't know at what though, but I remember them being better than here. So the truck is obviously gonna win. Well, it already won. It's so far away you don't even see it. The truck won by 6 seconds. Well, it's still enough to qualify, so I'll take it. But yeah. Any event that has a bike is is bad news. What else do you have? Oh yeah, here we should go back to the Belzebub. You know, in that case I prefer this one, personally. So the Buggy is also another car. In Pacific Rift, the Buggy was the best vehicle type in the game, but in this game it doesn't seem to be. Like, it struggles quite a lot. I'm pretty sure that they nerfed the rally car and they buffed the Buggy. Then again, last time I played Pacific Rift was so long ago that I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. I think I might be right. So can you get out of the way, please? You see, they call you a racing truck, but, well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a racing truck or a mud whatever. But yeah, you are not racing, you're just crawling. That was not good. Damn, that was a perfect jump to fall exactly where I didn't need to be. Like, I couldn't have done that more perfectly imperfect. Bro. As I say, in these games, buggies are not very responsive at all. But I'm pretty sure they are in the next game. Now the last game in the series for MotorStorm, it's a PS Vita game. I don't think that's a good idea to try to make work. I will see what the compatibility is, but usually I don't think the PS Vita emulator is in a super good state, really. At least not last time I tried it, but it's been a long time. But then again, it's a PS Vita, you know, it's a console with... I mean, the exclusives are not very good, and the ones that are not exclusive, why will you play the Vita version, right? So it's also one of those consoles that doesn't seem to have much interest. I mean, it's the perfect comparison with the Xbox emulator Tsemu. Like, that emulator works very badly with like 90% of the titles in the console, and that's because nobody really gives a fuck about the original Xbox. There aren't enough exclusives that are good enough to play there that are not already available. Well, that were exclusives back then and are no longer exclusive because of PC. The biggest example being Halo and company, right? You can play those games on PC officially, I'm pretty sure. Right? You don't need to emulate. So with those out of the question, the original Xbox really didn't have many important things. Because I'm pretty sure that like other very popular titles like the Ninja Gaiden games, those are also available on PC. But yeah, not much reason to emulate Xbox, but if there is an Xbox game that you want to emulate, you are kinda out of luck because the emulator sucks. Sucks just as much as me going straight for the cliff. Essentially, in my case, it's Forza Motorsport, the first game in the series, and it doesn't work properly, and I cannot play that game anywhere else, so yeah. It doesn't help that they rebranded, well, the like one of the most recent game in the series. It's just called Forza Motorsport, without any numbers or anything like that. No, it's just Forza Motorsport, like the first one. So if you want to search for the first one, you will probably see the one that you can play right now, the one that released some years ago, and that really sucks. Especially because they had no reason to not put a number in the game, considering that every other motorsport game Oh, I blew up. Oops, my bad. That's the first time that happens. I didn't know I was so close to blowing up, but I was. Well, I think that will cost me the win, which is a shame, but that was a very dumb mistake from me, so I cannot really complain. It will be a second place, so yeah, not a fan of second places. So this ticket really wasn't well completed at all. We will go to the next one. This one starts with big rig. Well, at least you know that the big rigs are good vehicles. Oh shit. Okay. I'm not sure what I'm looking at right here. A little bit weird. You know, not sure what that is. It didn't even fit on the screen. Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking at it and I still don't know what it is. A little bit of an old specimen. I'm the only truck, by the way, here, so... And it's this truck. Okay, so this truck here, it's probably the hardest truck in the game, but using one of these big guys, if you just go into the mud, you should be able to easily pass. Though I still feel like it's better if I don't go into the mud, because it's still faster to go here. Like, the mud is one of those places that you go for falling into it, not because you wanna be there. Yeah, well, one thing that the big rigs have is that their handling is, as you would expect, atrocious. So yeah, there's not much you can do to steer. And if you want to avoid the mud, you kinda need to be able to steer. Yeah, that was terrible. That was a very bad start. I'll try the second lap through the mud exclusively and see if I can do better. Maybe not, but the other places require some steering capability that I don't have. Well, that I don't have, that this thing doesn't have. And how far are the other guys, by the way? So I'm in 5th place. Oh, okay, there they are. Not that they were far, it's that they were in a different place. That's a good route to take, but I think it's mostly good with a vehicle with better handling. This thing cannot handle for shit. At least no one can stop you, that's the thing, because so many of the vehicle types in this game have very obvious disadvantages. But this truck, well, it also has obvious disadvantages, but it has a very obvious advantage as well. That's the thing. Like the fact that no one, like basically wherever you go, unless it's a solid wall, nothing's gonna stop you. Like, it's not gonna be another car, it's not gonna be like a weird surface. You are not gonna be stopped. But yeah, the very obvious weakness being the god-awful handling. So going through the mud there didn't seem like it was a good idea at all. Like, it really didn't look like a good idea. Maybe here it's a good idea. This is a lot more straightforward. They are still like those rocks. Maybe a little bit distracting, but I think that that's probably one of the only places in the track where where it's worth it to go through the mud. Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid here. This might not be a win, and the issue is that if I keep accumulating these like seconds or third places, I'm pretty sure that I will have to redo all of this. So that's not good. So how is it going, Wasabi? I recognize one of the last songs from Rock Band. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we already know there is a Guitar Hero song here, so wouldn't be surprising if there was one from Rock Band as well. Oh, by the way, I was saying that earlier, but apparently I was able to remove the song that had the video blocked from the playlist. So that shouldn't happen again today unless I got the wrong one, in which case not only it will happen, but it will happen even more because it's gonna appear more. So here I'm hoping that I took away the right one and I didn't confuse it. Before I forget, by Slipknot, yeah, when I saw the playlist I saw that there was a Slipknot song, a Nirvana song as well. It seems like there is some nice stuff in here. And as I was also saying earlier, the song that blocked my video is not even a song in the game, because apparently the song was called Goodbye, but there is no song with that name in this game. So essentially the copyright owner that blocked the video is a fraud. Very clearly a fraud. No, it's fine. Wow, that was crazy. And if that was any other vehicle, I feel like it would have already flipped. Like, if that was a quad, despite bragging like better mobility and shit, I'm pretty sure that would have flipped. I can't believe that. That sucks so much, dude. Yeah, nothing new to this website. It happened. But man, that loss right there was so embarrassing. Almost makes me want to play it again. Fuck. Damn it. That's like 3 losses in a row. That's not good. I'll tell you something. If I lose this one too, I'm restarting. As simple as that. I'm not gonna accept another defeat. This will be a victory. Especially since we're using a rally car, you know? So this thing has 69 as the vehicle number. Pretty nice. Also, that copyright thing reminds me of, there was a Toho song, or rather a Toho fan song, of course, called Tiny Little Adamantium by Shibayan Records, that apparently there is some fraud that basically doesn't make music. It's just a fraud that grabs music made by other people and puts obnoxious effects on top of it. I don't remember his name, and it's better that way because fuck him. Yeah, the one that got claimed, yeah, because it remixed like the Kenshiro's speech Omae wa mou shindeiru, right, from Hokuto no Ken. And yeah, remixed other shit apparently as well. And that piece of shit that did that is the one that claimed the copyright. The guy was called Deadman. Well, I hope that his name resembles his current state. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, that piece of garbage was the one that claimed copyright over a song he didn't own, obviously. And I will know, I mean, that song, Tiny Little Adamantium, is sung by my favorite vocalist, which is 3L, also known as Sayuri Ampo. Like the best, to me, one of the best vocalists that sings Touhou fan songs. So I will know that it was like obviously a fake copyright. Thankfully, Shibayan Records later on actually uploaded their songs to YouTube. So now the copyright belongs to them, the rightful owners, of course. Yeah. And it's pretty fucked up. Well, I guess back then maybe some doujin circles weren't that popular outside of Japan, but yeah, Shibayan Records is like one of the most popular doujin circles. I will say that Shibayan Records, like Amaterasu Records, Shinra Bansho, who else? I was gonna say Halosy. Halosy hasn't released something in decades, so I'm not sure if I could call them popular right now. But essentially, Shibayan is one of the most popular doujin circles around Touhou music, so it's kind of like you're kicking the hornet nest. So like maybe that would have flied if it was a very unpopular, obscure artist that no one really knows about. And Shibayan, I guess, was kind of like that, as I say, for people outside of Japan. But when Touhou got more popular, so did the fan artists, and yeah, Shibayan is easily one of the most recognizable doujin circles. So yeah, point is, fuck that guy, fuck copyright, and more importantly, fuck YouTube as well. Though technically YouTube is not at fault, because what YouTube does here is essentially it brings the copyright list from some service that gives it to them, and they simply apply the law. So technically not their fault, but I mean, fuck them regardless. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to say fuck YouTube. I think it keeps you healthy. Like, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know if it was Abraham Lincoln or who say that, like, we should do a revolution every something years to keep the society healthy or whatever. Well, here you gotta say fuck you too often. It keeps you healthy. It keeps your mind where it should be. Yeah, fuck him, I agree. Oh, anything. How is it going, by the way, CloneCat? All of this I'm saying is because they block a video of mine. Well, that is now unblocked, but it was blocked. I was talking about the situation with Shibayan Records having a song of them sampled by some hack piece of shit that apparently was called Deadman, and he copyrighted it, and every time that someone played that song, the copyright went to him and not to Shibayan Records. And as I was saying earlier, I hope his current state is reflected by that name. I really hope, but yeah, I guess we might not be that lucky, but you never know. But we were talking about that, basically, and we were talking about that precisely because the song that blocked my video yesterday was a song that was claimed with a name that is not the one on on the song, on the real song. And I will know that because here you have a playlist and it tells you the name of the artist and the name of the song, and thankfully you can remove it, so it shouldn't be a problem anymore, assuming I got the right one. But the point is that, yeah, it's not the right owner. It's basically a fraud. And yeah, that fraud caused me to mute the video, because otherwise it will be blocking the whole world. So yeah, I hope all those frauds that basically hijack copyright, I really wish you the worst, because I already wish the worst to music labels that block videos in countries for absolutely no reason, but people that steal copyright are even worse. Like, are even worse scum. Because at least music label blocking their shit in countries, I mean, it's pretty shitty and I'll never agree with that, but at least they are doing something with what they legally own. It wasn't the label, well, not the original one anyways, but it was a label. I mean, it was a music label. Just that whatever, either that music label or the artist that works for that music label committed fraud. So I'm not sure who it is to blame, if the artist, well, artist, there is no artist, because if it detected a different song, then there was no artist involved there. Because the one on the original song has nothing to do with it. So it obviously was the work of a music label. The question is if that music label is aware that is representing a song that is incorrectly, you know, claimed, right? I don't know. The thing about this world of copyright is that nobody knows anything. Like, copyright is such a shitty thing, such a piece of shit law, that oftentimes not even the people that own a copyright know they own it, because there is so much bureaucracy, so much bullshit on top of everything, that sometimes it's like a copyright owner has to ask, hey, who actually owns this? Who do I have to talk with to use this in a product? Because even though they have the rights, they are not sure, because there's so much shit, right? Copyright is a disaster, one of the worst tragedies of modern laws. Like, one of the worst usage of law that there are. Like, I understand that if you make something, of course you want that to be recognized as yours. I understand that, but to the extent that copyright gets implemented to fuck over other people is crazy. Because at that point the intent does not matter at all. You know, because the whole point about laws, originally, not anymore obviously, but originally laws were created to precisely preserve intention, right? So essentially, well, a stupid example, if someone steals from you, you punish the guy that stole from you, obviously, because what he stole doesn't belong to them, and someone that owns something got their property stolen, right? That's the idea. And with copyright it's similar, right? Like, you own a piece of media that you made, so if someone tries to steal it, they get punished. But the copyright law got degenerated so much over the past decades that like no one knows what it does, who it benefits. Well, it benefits music labels, but sometimes music labels don't even get benefited by it. You know, like sometimes they will be benefited by their shit being reproduced in the most amount of, you know, devices possible, and copyright laws don't allow that. Everyone is entitled to their copyright, which is fine, but the enforcing is an absolute mess. Yeah, it's as I say, it's one of those laws that simply got degenerated. Like, the original intent is pretty clear. Like, it's the same as any law that says don't steal, right? So if someone gets your song and says, hey, I actually made this, well, that's what copyright is for, to make sure that that doesn't happen. But yeah, intent doesn't matter anymore, because I mean, it's pretty clear here. Like, my video got blocked because I played a song that has a certain copyright holder that says that you cannot reproduce this song anywhere. Why? I'm not claiming that that song is mine, right? Like, I'm not basically trying to make other people have access to that song for free. I'm just playing a fucking game that is not even about music, it's just a game about off-road racing. So it's one of those cases where intent doesn't matter. Like, it's pretty clear my intent is not a bad intent. Well, not a bad intent towards the copyright holder or the artist. I have bad intents against my opponents here on the race, yeah, sure, but in terms of the copyright and the music, I don't have any bad intents, and yet I get punished. Well, punished. Thankfully, it's not a punish in itself, because it's not a strike or anything like that. It's simply they tell you, hey, your video is blocked and you need to mute it, which is technically not a punishment in the sense of what punishment means, but to me it is as if it was a punishment. Also, there's someone that's lapped. That truck that is right in front of me, he's not the first place, he's a lap car. Wow, that's the first time I see it in the whole game. How the fuck do you even manage to get lapped? Damn, you must suck a lot of balls, not just the regularly accepted amount, but an exaggerated amount of balls. It's fine. But yeah, the point is that, yeah, enforcement of copyright has been... You know, that popular phrase that is, Industrial Revolution and its consequences were a disaster to the human race? Well, here I say copyright and its consequences are a disaster to the human race. Wait, isn't this the song that got me muted? I hope not. It sounded like this, but I removed it from the playlist. No, it's fine. This one is Red Carpet something. This one it was acknowledged by YouTube, but it didn't have any issue. Like, it simply didn't allow me to monetize the video, but I don't monetize them anyways. But yeah, I hope it's not this one, because if it is this one, this whole shit is gonna be muted. Ah, but it really sounds a lot like it. Fuck. I really hope it's not. I mean, I precisely double-checked today before starting the stream, which is precisely why I started the stream 2 minutes later. And I'm pretty sure this specific song was part of the copyright list as like a harmless song. But it sounds so similar to the one that muted the video. But yeah, the one that I took off from the playlist also sounded similar to this. It's just that, as I say, I cannot confirm if it's the right one because the name is not the proper one. As I say, no song in this game is called Goodbye, and that's the one that the copyright mentioned that blocked the video. They are sucking more balls than the medically recommended amount prescribed by the 9 out of 10 doctors. Yeah, I know. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend you suck balls with Colgate, of course. And you know, actually, that's something I remember so much from when I was a kid. There were so many advertisements about the toothpaste Colgate, right? Well, that here we don't pronounce it like that. We pronounce it Colgate, right? And that's because Spanish letters are pronounced in a very specific way that is immutable most of the time, so yeah, you will pronounce it like that. Point is, all advertisements were the same shit. Oh yeah, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this shit. Yeah, sure they do. I'm sure they do that. I'm sure you also have a very easy way to check that statistic that is not completely made up. Yeah, no problem. You had me confused even though, yeah. I'm pretty, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that in English it's pronounced Colgate. Well, Wasabi will know. I think it's pronounced Colgate. I mean, it would be weird if it wasn't pronounced Colgate. Because why would it be? It is? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm talking about that one. But here, as I say, we pronounce it Colgate, right? Which is pretty funny because it sounds exactly like another word, like an actual word in Spanish that means like hang from something, right? Like it's a conjugation of the verb colgar, which means to hang, right? So that specific conjugation of the verb is a little bit complex to explain with words. So it's essentially like the imperative version, but the imperative version that refers to the person itself and not to an indirect action, right? Because, for example, the imperative of hang will be you telling someone to hang something, right? So in Spanish that will be if you say to another person, right? You will say colgar. Like that's the imperative way to say it. It's like you're telling someone, hey, hang something. But the funny thing about colgate is that it's the imperative version that tells that you should hang. You know? So it's pretty funny. And it's especially funny because, I mean, in English it kind of sounds more like you're telling someone to kill themselves. But no, it's in Spanish it sounds more like you're telling someone to hang from your dick, right? Like it sounds more like that, the intention. So it's a pretty funny name. A very unfortunate name, of course, but yeah, I mean, the guys that came up with that name in English are not gonna think of how it sounds in Spanish, obviously. But it's just pretty funny. Anyways, yeah. The whole hang from this is it's a very funny thing. Also, this has been the worst result I got. Yeah, I failed to qualify. Indeed I did. Oh, damn, look at how fast the restart is. I think I did retry once, but I didn't pay attention. Look at that. You press restart and it immediately positions you back to the beginning. To think that there are some games that essentially take like 10 seconds to do that, plus a loading screen, of course. And props to these guys for making that possible. And yeah, the worst part is that I'm talking about modern games that do that. You will think that technology will go forward, but no, it goes backwards. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, here CloneCat actually reminded me of something. Yeah, what I'm specifically saying is about Argentinian Spanish. It does not apply to other countries' Spanish because, as CloneCat says, yeah, the proper form will be cuélgate. Indeed, correct. But yeah, in Argentinian Spanish specifically, you will say it like that. That's what makes it so funny, you know? Because it's a common, a relative, well, it's not like it's a common word. You don't see people saying that often, but what I'm trying to say is that it's a funny word. And yeah, I guess it's only funny here, but yeah. It's pretty fucked up, isn't it? The fact that if you want to speak Spanish like an Argentinian, you have to learn like a whole new branch of verb conjugations. Can you believe that? And Spanish conjugations are already very hard to learn. So can you imagine needing to learn like a whole new collection of branches for conjugation simply because you want to sound like a native Argentinian? Then again, I don't know why you would want that. Some people, believe it or not, are obsessed. Well, essentially any person, no, not any person, I mean any country has someone that is obsessed with it. Doesn't matter what country it is, doesn't matter how, you know, how you perceive the country as bad or whatever. Like, there's at least one person in the whole world that is obsessed with it. And well, in this case it's Argentina, and a lot of people I know that they are obsessed with Argentina. And especially people that don't even speak the language, and I'm speaking about Spanish, you know. Also, you know, I found it pretty funny, Clonecat, that you say in the second message you say cuélgate, but YouTube translated automatically and it says hang yourself. Can you imagine that Clonecat gets like automatically banned from YouTube because it translated a message as hang yourself? Man, that would be funny. Because yeah, well, YouTube basically say that I'm right. The fact that in English that word kind of says like you're telling someone to kill themselves, right? But yeah, it's exactly that will be the proper translation of colgate, or well, in this case cuélgate, which is yes, hang yourself. Technically, if you don't add any context, because if you add context, you can say hang yourself from this place. So for example, I don't know, if you're doing mountain climbing and you say well, then again, I don't know if saying hang yourself will be the right English conjugation here, but if you tell someone to grab a rope to not fall, you could say hang yourself to this rope, right? So if you add context, it doesn't sound that aggressive, I guess, but that's what the translation is, correct. The YouTube did a good job. Indeed. It seems that AI was able to figure out the right context. Okay, so here the only thing I couldn't do is the first one. You know what? I'm retrying it. Fuck it. I will retry it because I'm pissed. I shouldn't retry it this early, I guess, but I want to. I wanna do it. But yeah, the point is that something that I said the other day. These days I've been working with AI, not in my game, of course. Like, my game is worry not completely free of any AI bullshit, but I mean on my shop, because I'm essentially encouraged to use AI. And the way it works, since I didn't see it before and I'm just seeing it now, essentially have an IDE, which is like a program that has all the tools you need to program, right? Like, it has syntax, it has like debugger, compiler. Well, this one in particular, I think it's not actually an IDE, but rather it's a test, like an enriched text editor. Well, not enriched, that's a different thing. I mean, like a very powerful text editor. It's, by the way, a Visual Studio Code, but it's like a fork of Visual Studio Code that integrates AI. And that AI, essentially, the way it works is like an agent. Well, an agent, I mean, it's a chat where you basically tell them whatever you need. Like, I don't know, like, I need to migrate this project here so that it uses a different technology. And so the AI agent analyzes the project and it's like, okay, in this file I should put this dependency in this other file. I should reference this dependency that I just added and all that shit, right? And the thing is that it doesn't do everything for you. Like, it's not that smart as I keep constantly saying, but it is useful to find problems. Problems oftentimes caused by its own, but that's the thing. It's not much different to how you will approach it. For example, if you needed to migrate a technology in a project, what I will do first of all is, well, put all the references to that new technology where they need to be, where it's usually a file that references the dependencies of the project, right? So I will do that. But the thing is that doing that is not enough, because oftentimes other dependencies that you have don't play nice with this new dependency. So when you try running the program, it starts throwing random ass errors that are like, couldn't find this random ass class that you never heard before, right? So when that happens, traditionally what you do is Google that. You Google and you're like, okay, why the fuck is it throwing this error that I have nothing to do with, because it's completely unrelated to the application logic. Like, my application is an application that does something that is not related to this class at all, but it is a class that is used by dependencies that my application use, right? So you Google that and you usually have like an answer in Stack Overflow or whatever, and then you are like, okay, let's do that. And when you do that, oftentimes, well, a completely unrelated error shows up and you have to fix it in the same way. So that's essentially the dynamic that happens here with the AI bot, with the difference is that, instead of Googling and searching on your own, it's the AI bot that does it. So that certainly makes it a lot better to solve issues, because in the first place, dependency bullshit is something that you as a programmer, you cannot really do much, because like, if you were to be a professional that understands absolutely everything of every dependency you work with, well, that's impossible, basically. Like, that doesn't happen. I don't think there is a single person like that. But yeah, that's the point, that it makes something so painful like that still painful, but not that painful. So it's not extremely revolutionary. Like, it's not like it will, make me lose my job, but it is a powerful tool, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm canceling my cancellation. That's essentially the way it works. Technically, you can use it for things that are more straightforward, that are actually more related to your project. Like, for example, if the client tells you, hey, I want a new button that when you press it, it fetches information from this service and it shows on the screen this. Like, technically, you could tell them to do that, but I feel like that's better if you do that yourself. But yeah, you could do that too, but again, I mean, oftentimes you run into issues that you yourself will run into, so you kind of have to go step by step. Like, you add some things, and those things that you added like break something, so then you fix that, and well, eventually until it works the way it's supposed to work. That's essentially my current experience with AI agents used for coding. But yeah, I still haven't really used it because there are a lot of people that use it to start a project from zero. Well, that's something that I'm not gonna do, and that's mostly because usually when you work at an IT company, that, I mean, I guess it happens often in some fields, but not in the one, I mean. Oh, this one is called Russian Roulette. Interesting. This ticket. What I'm trying to say is that it's not something that completely, you know. Wait, I want to see, did I get a new one here? Oh yeah, the hot rod. Well, I could try the hot rod. Just that it seems that this thing will suck to drive, but you never know. I was out to say, yeah, it's not a something that solves everything. But yeah, it's useful because, as I say, when you do something, when you code, it's impossible that you will know everything there is to know about the technology you're using. Because, I mean, tools have gotten so powerful that you use a lot of shit that you don't even know how they are called, right? So the thing is, for those things where there really is no creative process and instead it's essentially esoteric bullshit that you don't really have any benefit of knowing on your own, I'm not sure if it's a bad idea. That being said, I feel like I still wouldn't like to work in a game and use it even for something like that. But that's because, I mean, so far the only 2 games that I made are made in Game Maker, which is not extremely complex, so most of the times you understand what's going on, because there doesn't tend to be that many. I mean, you could add dependencies, but it doesn't tend to be the disaster of development that I don't know, Unreal Engine, for example, projects are, right? Where you have a lot of dependencies, the code is gigantic and everything is a mess. Here with Game Maker it tends to be relatively simple. But yeah, I don't know. I think that using it for the creative part, though, that's the part that, I mean, it makes sense in the sense like I see why someone will do it, but at that point I feel like why are you even making a game? You know? Because it feels like it's not really something that you can say, this is my game, right? I mean, technically it is, yes, but I don't know. I feel like it will kind of go against like the most important thing about making a game, which is the creative process. Like, you're essentially shortcutting the whole joy of making a game, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Like, if you make a game exclusively for the money, yes, I guess. The thing is that that's also, well, I guess maybe cost benefit, it's like it's a good result, but I feel like at that point there are better ways of doing that, you know? Hey, I don't know. Just that in my case, I feel like I could not possibly make a video game just for the sake of profit. Because to me it's like, I like video games so much that if my incentive to finish a video game is money, it's like, there are better ways of making that money than a fucking video game, you know? I mean, that's essentially what I mean. Like, if you really, really wanted easy money, why would you try making a video game? That's like one of the worst ways of making money. Like, unless, yes, you're a multi-millionaire company like MiHoYo, or well, sorry, HoYoverse, I should say, and you know that what you do, like, basically prints money, well, yeah, sure. But if you're an indie developer, like, you're most likely not gonna be the next Undertale, you know? You're most likely not gonna do that, and even less so if you use artificial intelligence and people know you use artificial intelligence. So at that point, if all you care about is money, there are way better ways of doing it. Now, you could either play with, you know, like a modern casino, which are the stock market, basically, right? You could do that, or, I don't know, if you want something more safe, you could, I don't know, there are many other ways of making money. Some of them are probably not very morally right, but making a video game certainly is not it. In my case, as I say, at least the artistic part of a video game, I don't see any reason to make it with AI, because at that point it completely strips the identity, right? I mean, I guess the word identity is not very specific, because yes, even with AI you could technically make a game have a very specific identity. It's just that that identity doesn't really belong to you, you know? Like, and technically it doesn't belong to anyone, because the AI doesn't just take from like a single source, it takes from multiple, right? Am I gonna lose? Probably. No, I won't lose. Nice. Whew. Beautiful. I was about to say that, yeah, you could make it have an identity, but it's not an identity that is yours. So yeah, at that point I feel like, what's the point? In my case, well, technically speaking, you could say that I wanna be the guy fan games you use. Like, the identity is also not fully yours, because the assets that you use are not yours. So in that regard, there's not much of it, but yeah, at the very least, the gameplay part is part of your identity, I guess. I guess that raises a good point, right? Like, what if you use the AI? Okay, see, that's an interesting question that I just thought of. What will be the difference about using AI for assets not related to the gameplay itself, and what you do with fan games, which is essentially taking assets from other places? You're making a conscious choice with what you choose to make. Yeah, but that applies to AI as well, you know? Like, the argument there is that you don't own what the AI produces, technically. Well, technically, I guess you do own it, but what I'm trying to say is, I guess morally you don't own what the AI is making, because, you know, it takes from other artists, and it's not something that you have any artistic work involved in. But the thing here is, you could very easily use use AI for drawing or assets in general, and do exactly, like make it do exactly what you want to see, you know? Like let's say that you want to have a character design with a specific art style and with specific accessories and certain characteristics, right? That's something that you can do. It's not like you should say, give me a character, and well, you could do that, give me a character and just use the first one that shows up, but usually what you will instead do is describe it in a way where you do have input, you know? The thing with fun games is that the assets can be traced back to someone, hence why the community has made crediting a better practice recently compared to AI where it can't. Yeah, there's that, but I feel that, you know, crediting is obviously pretty nice, but I think that at the end of the day, one of the big problems is still there, which is the fact that you took something without permission. Because yeah, I mean, you could credit all you want, but if there is a certain musical artist that doesn't want their song to be related to your game, you didn't ask them, right? And well, you could say like, well, if they requested to be taken out, you would, but they probably don't even know the game even exists. And if that's the case, you will say, so yeah, why will it matter then if they don't know? But yeah, I think that it will matter, kinda, you know? I don't know, like that's the thing, it's a very morally gray thing where it feels like nobody's right, not even me, of course. Like no one. See, I don't like the idea of using AI to make assets of my own video game. But at the same time, if my idea is to not profit from it, like, I feel like there wouldn't be more moral issues than just taking assets that are not yours, right? Because in both cases you are doing that. It's just that in one it's more indirect. Like, if anything, that's the thing. If the argument is about stealing assets, if anything, it will be more morally correct to do it through AI, because at least you are not stealing a very specific asset that was clearly and without any ounce of doubt made by someone else. With AI, yes, you can say everything that you produce has been, you know, replicated from the work of millions, right? But technically you cannot really trace back to which ones in particular, and the same, by the way, will apply to anything that you yourself produce, in the sense that you are taking inspiration from a lot of things, and sometimes it's pretty hard and even outright impossible to even name all the things that you were inspired by, right? But that's the thing, is that a problem? And it isn't. So yeah, it's as I say, there are a lot of morally gray things here, you know? It's that sort of thing where, again, I don't like the idea of using AI for artistic purposes in a game, right? Like for artistic purposes, for like, as I mentioned before, for personal consumption, yeah, who cares? Do what you want with what you have on your own computer, right? But in the case of game making, right? Let's go with the premise that using AI to do artistic assets for a video game is wrong, right? And that's the thing. Why will it be, you know, more wrong than just using actual assets, right? Like, I know what you mentioned, right? The fact that it can be traced back, but yeah, I don't think that's a strong argument, personally. And I don't know what will be a strong argument. That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Like, how cool? Like, why will one thing be okay and not the other one? Right? And, well, I can think of an argument being that AI, like, is, you know, bad for the environment, so by using AI, you are promoting that, right? Well, promoting no, but like you're encouraging it, I guess. I'm not sure what word to use, but the point is that that doesn't really apply for things that you generate yourself, you know? Like, you generate locally and not with a service like, I don't know, Gemini or whatever, right? So it's like, it's very gray, and I mean, I know that it's like a very new debate, so I don't expect there to be very like developed opinions, right? But it's just that, at least in the context of fan games, I don't really see much of a justification. Aren't data centers better at getting at being environmentally friendly? Better than what? Oh, like than before, you mean? I don't know, but I mean, that's not really, as I say, an issue assuming you generate things locally. If you generate things locally, like, yes, your video card will use electricity to generate that, but I mean, it's no different than what I'm doing right now. Like, emulating this game consumes electricity, for example, you know? So what I'm trying to say is that if you generate art locally, even that argument doesn't hold up. So yeah, that's the question. What will be the issue on a game that is provided for free, like an I Wanna Be the Guy fan game, to use AI assets instead of straight up stolen assets, right? And again, I feel like there's not much. I still wouldn't do it for, I mean, the simple fact that if I'm allowed to take any asset I want, I feel like it's even easier to take already existing assets than generating new ones, right? Not to mention that it also makes it easier to maintain consistency. Well, depends on where, like, how much variety the assets that you're taking from have, like, if you're taking from too many different sources or not. But like, for the most part, I think that you might have a better consistency by doing that than generating it with AI. It depends though. The AI also got better at doing that lately too. So yeah, I don't know. What is certainly true though is that if you were to publish a game, a fan game, and I Wanna Be the Guy fan game that uses AI, you wouldn't hear the end of it. Like, it's certainly not gonna be a fun game that's gonna be like... But, like, for fun games in particular, it just feels like something that doesn't make much sense. If, as I say, if it's a game for profit, yeah, technically it makes sense because you can appeal to the morality of using stolen data or, well, data or assets or whatever you want to call it to get a profit, but fun games don't follow that. Multiple people have done that already, yeah, I know. And for what I read in some reviews of games that are known to use AI, people like low rated to oblivion. But again, I feel like there really isn't a convincing argument against it. In fact, you know, the best argument that I could think of, and that it will be a valid one, I'm not saying it will be a wrong one, but like the most valid and coherent thing that you could say is, I don't like it. As simple as that. You could be like, look, I hate AI in principle. So even if there's technically not anything morally wrong with making a fun game with AI assets, I don't like it. And that's it. That's the end of it. And I feel like that is like a good way to frame it. Like, you simply don't like it and that's it. But I'm not sure if there are many convincing arguments that you could say that it's wrong to do it. Like, I feel like you should say, I don't like it, and that's it. And it's fine. I mean, there are people that hate avoidances, like me. And, you know, what's the argument? No, I mean, there is no argument. I don't like them. Oh, these trucks. Bro, what the hell? Where do you all come from? Yeah, the problem is that that happened at the end. Wow, that's fucked up. And then I ended up getting run over for real. Okay, those trucks though got stuck. Come on, keep going forward, dude. This is your race. No, don't let that asshole win. This is your race. No. Ah, you... Fuck. I'm retrying. I'm not letting you win that. I'm retrying this shit. I don't give a fuck. I cannot stand losing by that little. I will win. I will win, even if I have to punch everyone out of the way. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Actually, you know, that's something that it will be nice to discuss with someone. Well, I mean, it's just like we are doing here with Wasabi, but I mean with more people from the I Wanna Be The Guy community, right? Like, going to the Discord is a horrible idea because you're gonna get dogpiled to death. But no, I mean, having like an honest one-on-one, well, it doesn't have to be one-on-one, could be multiple people, but like discussing the morality of using AI to make a fun game. And again, exclusively about the morality, not about if you like it or not, because again, that's a valid argument, but I'm interested in knowing if we can say that it's morally right or not. Because I personally am unsure. I mean, or well, should I say that I'm unsure? I don't think I'm unsure. I think I am sure that it shouldn't, like that, like it's not more morally wrong than using stolen assets, which is something that is basically what you do with I Wanna Be The Guy fan games, right? So yeah, I personally don't think it's morally wrong. Yeah, it's in the context of fun games. Yes, I mean, if you publish a game on Steam, even if it's free and you don't get any profit from it, I think that that's a more official way of saying this game and everything in it belongs to me, right? So technically they're using AI, yeah, you're kind of saying this belongs to me, to something that was essentially generated with, you know, material where you don't have the copyright permission, right? But yeah, I think that fun games are a completely different field. Is it something that I could talk about with Echo? I mean, I'm simply talking about the people that I know, of course. I'm sure that there are a lot of people I don't know that it will be pretty nice to discuss this thing with them, but yeah. Since the one I know is Echo, I guess it would be nice to discuss that with him, what he thinks of it. Because with this kind of things, I think that confronting them alone and not sharing thoughts feels like you can very easily get blinded by your own bias and not really be able to see from the perspective of others, right? So in my own bias, as I say, I think that there is technically nothing morally wrong with using AI generated assets for I Wanna Be the Guy fan games. But yeah, from another perspective, maybe that allows me to not have that individual bias and be able to see beyond, right? Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe like there are more people than I think of that maybe agree with the statement, and simply what they say is, I don't like, you know, AI generated assets, and that's it. That it's technically morally right, but I don't like it. And in that case, I think it will be understandable. Well, I could add them on my Discord one of these days, but the thing is that at the same time I'm also pretty close to finishing my fan game, so I don't want to... It will be pretty funny, right? Like I'm about to finish the fan game and suddenly asking, hey guys, what do you think of AI generated assets? Yeah, like that doesn't seem like a very good timing if you ask me. If anything, I probably should wait a little bit. But again, just in case there's any doubt, no, my fan game doesn't have any AI generated asset. And it won't have either. So yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, I think that it's better if I release my fan game and then we can have that conversation, because see, here's the thing, what if my Nets fan game has that? I don't know, I still wouldn't do it, as I say, because I think that it's both easier and probably better looking to just steal existing assets instead of generating them, but I don't know, there are some times, you know, that I envision something, well, that happened with my previous two fan games, well, previous fan game and current fan game, right? Where I envisioned the way I want a place in the game to look like. So I envision it, I know exactly how I want it to look like, but maybe I cannot find any asset that can make, you know, what I'm envisioning justice, right? Even if what I'm envisioning is not something good at all, and like I'm not saying that I'm that I'm a genius, that what I have in my mind needs to be represented in a 1:1 scale. The thing is that sometimes, no matter how hard you search, you won't find an asset that really matches what you want, and in those cases it will be useful to generate it with AI, right? But yeah, I don't know. very sensitive topic no matter what. Nice. You know, I kinda became a little bit speechless after talking all that, because it's the kind of thing that really leaves me thinking. Man, it's fine. I guess at the same time, regardless of the practicity or the effectiveness, well, efficiency or whatever you want to call it, there's also the fact that, you know, when you make a game, you make it for people to play it, right? And in the case of I Wanna Be the Guy fan games, if the majority just dislikes, you know, AI generated assets, then I guess that simply for that reason alone, if you want the game to be like, you probably wouldn't use them, right? That's what I was saying some time ago, but like, making games, at least in my case, it's not like I'm making games for myself like some few people claim that they do. No, I make games so that they are played by other people, of course. And obviously I will want those people that play them to like them. So that's the thing. If a big majority of the community doesn't like that, then, like AI generated assets, I mean, then I guess it's useless to even consider using them. You know, this kind of reminds me to another argument that is kind of, I guess, relatively old by now, but I think that there was a time where music makers like basically hated the use of things like Vocaloid, and that if you cannot sing well, like they will prefer if you use autotune rather than relying on a Vocaloid. And this feels like a similar argument in that regard, but I don't know. Or at least that's something that I remember reading about, that some music producers and especially singers really hate the Vocaloid because they are like, no dude, it's better if you sing yourself, even if you're bad at singing, it's preferable. But is it? And well, time has certainly shown that it isn't preferable. And multiple people, both producers and listeners alike, are clearly very okay with Vocaloids. But that's the thing, I feel like this argument about AI might be similar to that, you know? And obviously that doesn't mean that now everyone loves Vocaloid and there are no Vocaloid haters. But the thing is that with AI it will be the same, in the sense that at some point AI is no longer it's not gonna be looked down, and there's just gonna be people that don't like it, as with anything, but there won't be people like actively discouraging its use. Will it be the case? I don't know. I cannot predict the future. I'm just basically narrating what I know that happened with Vocaloids, right? And that now Vocaloids are pretty much, I wouldn't say widely accepted, in the sense that not everyone is an extreme Vocaloid fan, but I don't think many people argue that there's something wrong with it. And I got 4th place, but you cannot continue if you... Yeah, but I wasn't even close. Autotune has its own share of controversy, yeah, and well, I think that adds to the argument, right? Like, first, it probably was, like, I don't know, a recording digital for singing, right? Then it was Autotune, then it was Vocaloids, and now it's AI, right? Like, it feels like all of those probably went through controversy and they ended up coming out on top. And that being a good thing or not is not something I can answer. Well, in my case, I can answer it personally, because yes, I like Vocaloids. So the fact that it ended up becoming something at least accepted in a way that is not immediately scorned is something that I like. Yeah, a lot of people, well, I don't know if a lot, but some people certainly don't think that. It probably will. Kids are already consuming lots of AI content. Yeah, I mean, that's also the other thing. It's a very generational thing, right? Like, things that when you were born are common thing, you assume that they are, well, common, that there's nothing wrong with them, right? Kind of like, you know, when I was born, common things were, when I was born, were essentially cartoons, right? Obviously, like when I was born, cartoons were already like a very well-established thing. I'm not sure if in like the 40s or 50s where that started becoming a thing, if they were people that thought, hey, maybe this shouldn't be something that kids should be consuming, right? But didn't matter. I mean, because nowadays cartoons are like a super common and even encouraged form of entertainment for kids, right? I guess a better example and something that I can vouch for is smartphones. Or, I don't know if it's smartphones, but cell phones in general. Like, basically a way to communicate remotely. When I was a kid, since I wasn't born with them, that was seen as a bad thing. Like, if you were not an adult, you shouldn't be having one of those. Like, and again, back then they were cell phones, they weren't the smartphones that exist today. But nowadays, it's completely common that even a kid owns one. And even if it's not an actual smartphone, it's at least like a cell phone. Because I know that at least in Japan, flip phones are still, I don't know if popular, but they still exist, so at least a way to communicate remotely is something that for a kid is normal. And it wasn't before. So, you know. There was the whole oh yeah. Yeah, that's something that was so ridiculous I completely forgot, because all the things that I'm saying are things that have some base on, you know, why it could be a bad thing. But yeah, Pokemon's being the devil is like, what are you doing, you know? Like, it's so ridiculous it didn't even cross my mind. But yes, that's a good example. Like, Pokemons came out and you have, well, the usual religious nut shops that are always a piece of shit because they were born pieces of shit and they will die pieces of shit, that basically think that religion is the most important thing, and that people, despite their religion they say they practice, obviously puts people in an important position. No, for them religion is more important than people, right? So for them it was like, well, this, you know, innocent entertainment shit for kids, no, it's actually the work of the devil and you should remove it. Man, I hate religious fundamentalists so bad that every time that I talk about them I get angry. I mean, there is a reason why I'm atheist, but I hate people that try to force their religion on you so much. Like, I respect people that practice religion on their own terms, like they do their thing, they leave you alone, they practice their religion, but they don't even ask you for you to do the same. They just live their life and they let you live your life. But the guys that cannot even do that, I hate them so much. I know, dude, I don't give a fuck about your shitty ass religion. Like, if you want me to hear tales that I don't care about, how about I let you, like, how about you let me narrate Umineko to you? Like this long ass tale about some witches that tell lies and truths. Yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna try to force me to care about this shit, about some guy in the sky or whatever, well, I can also talk about this random story that I heard of, and yeah, you will have to listen. But you wouldn't do that, and it makes sense that you wouldn't. But in the same way you wouldn't, I also wouldn't, you know? That's the idea. So, will I lose this one too? It's certainly looking like it right now. Yeah, I will. But if I get second place, at least it's... No, that's... I hate this race. I can do another one though, because there are multiple races that I didn't win though. Oh, you can already go to the next ticket. I didn't know that. Well, in that case, I'm gonna do that. Like, I obviously will have to go back to the previous one eventually. I will, don't worry. No problem. Which one is this? I could get this one. Someone caught too many home dooms? Yeah, I know, right? Someone think of the kids, should bring Lovecraft, their punny god doesn't have anything on the ancient ones? Of course. The point is that, going back to the original point, which was about normalizing things when you are essentially born with them, yes, it's pretty likely that AI will also be the next thing that will be normalized. And you will have people, like maybe some of us, that will keep saying AI fucking sucks. But at that point it's no different than, yeah, the people that were older when we were kids and were saying like, yeah, in my time we didn't have these Pokemons. We were playing with the ball outside. And it's not like they didn't have a point in terms of this whole social aspect, I guess. Like the fact that even if they are multiplayer video games, the social aspect is kinda weak. But that being said, I mean, I don't give a fuck. You know? The same way that you probably didn't give a fuck when your parents told you that rock music is satanic. That same way, because I mean, rock music in like the 80s and before was like, oh no, this is something that if you're a good religious boy, you shouldn't listen to. Well, no one now thinks that. So yeah, well, no one that his word listen to things that. So yeah, the point is that the same will most likely happen with AI, and the people, like maybe some of us that will keep saying that AI sucks, will be seen as the people whose word has no worth. It's very possible. Well, in my case at least, I won't have kids, so it's not like I will tell my kids, hey, AI is bad, and I will be the party pooper there, right? So it will be slightly different, a slightly different situation, but the point is that, I mean, it can still apply even if you say it to people that are not your kids, right? Like, you will still be the old fuck, the old party pooper fuck. Yeah, there are things that are interesting to think about, really. I personally think that, I mean, I always hold the opinion of, as long as you're doing something that is not harming anyone else, hey, do whatever you want. So if you enjoy watching full seasons of AI generated cartoons, for example, hey, I mean, why not? I mean, I personally don't even have a problem with that. Like, even if I wouldn't do it, I don't care if you do it. But yeah, the point is, times change and all of that, you know. Times change a lot. And hey, you can change with the times. I mean, there are a lot of people that are constantly updating themselves to new standards, even standards that might not last a long time. Because, I mean, there's been a lot of things, you know, that were tried to be established as standards and actually did not happen. I can give you a good example of that. Here there were a lot of people that tried to install something that they label inclusive language, right? Which essentially meant, because, you know, in Spanish pretty much almost every word has a gender, because that's the way Spanish works. So yes, even a chair has a gender. But the thing is that for words that refer to people, they wanted them to have new tense, well, I don't know if tense is the word, but rather new forms, I guess, where they were gender neutral, right? So they basically made up words that obviously don't exist in Spanish, but that will become a new standard to refer to things as gender neutral. But the thing is that that was never a standard. It never got recognized as a standard and most likely never will. So yeah, there are some things that you can follow, and even something like that, just that it's possible that it will be rolled back and will never be normalized, right? Yeah, basically, the world changes a lot, and even more so with internet now. So it's not something like you shouldn't really try to adapt to every new thing that comes up, because, as I say, those things might be short-lived, like that inclusive language shit I just mentioned, and you're adapting to something that you're not gonna use, but you know, yeah. I don't know, everything is so complex and shit and all of that. You know? The world is complicated. I think what matters though, no matter how complicated it is, to abort things with respect, right? Like if someone is engaging with something new, and that something new is something that you don't like, you don't have to like it, but at least, you know, again, as long as it's not harming anyone, I think that it's important to just treat it with respect. And of course, as long as it's not disrespecting you, obviously. But yeah, that is encompassing the whole thing about not harming others. It also includes harming honor, right? Yeah. It's really hard to tell with how many things change in the past decades, how many new things got introduced and all of that. It's very hard to tell how things are gonna look like in the future. Like it's impossible to predict, you know? But it's something that I was telling my boss in my shop, of course, like that we were discussing AI, and I say, well, pretty nice to get used to like these AI agents for coding and all of that, but you know that this thing could disappear at any moment, right? With the fact that there are global tensions that threaten like the availability of energy, and the fact that AI in general, there is more money used to build AI stuff than money that actually exists in the present, right? So like this shit is very nice and all, but how long is it gonna last, right? Like maybe it will, maybe it's here to stay, as he said, like he said that AI is here to stay, that's what he thinks, but what if it isn't? And here I'm not even talking about any ethical thing or anything like that. I'm talking exclusively about the technical aspect of it, right? Like what happens if AI can no longer exist because the energy is simply not there? What are you gonna do? You know? So is it a good idea to adapt to AI still? AI is here to stay, but not for us. I guess that's another way of viewing it. Like it's here to stay, but not for the common folk. It's pretty possible. It is indeed pretty possible. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where you simply don't know, you simply cannot know the future, and no one, absolutely no one can guarantee you that things will happen in one way. You have a lot of people throwing out predictions about what might happen or not. Well, pretty ironically, some of them using AI to make predictions, but ultimately it's impossible to know what's gonna happen. I mean, look, maybe regardless of the availability of energy or not, maybe there will be a conflict in the future that will force everyone to like go back a couple of centuries in terms of technology. And you might think that that's ridiculous, but global tensions are at an all-time high since, well, essentially the previous biggest armed conflict, which is World War II, of course. So it doesn't seem that irrational to think that an event like that could happen. Yeah, hey Grog, what's gonna happen? No one knows. Even the people that are responsible for these things to happen, they also don't know what's gonna happen. Now, you might look at a world leader and you might be thinking, fuck, if only I could be in his shoes to know what to expect. I'm pretty sure not even them know what to expect. Well, pretty clear that some world leaders don't even know what they are doing in the first place, but the point is that even if they knew what they were doing, they cannot possibly predict how it's gonna end up happening, right? So it's just one of those things where you cannot read the future. Well, I can read the future of this race, and I know I'm not gonna win. But yeah, right now I'm being completely filtered. Alright, let me do some previous events. I guess, yeah, right now I'm getting kinda filtered. We could do this one, for example, this one that I got 3rd place. It's a shame though, because it's in the hardest track in the game and with the shittiest vehicle type in the game, so not sure I'm gonna be able to pull it off, but I'll try. Hopefully it happens. Hopefully. We will see though. I'm still afraid that this is the song that mute my video, god damn it. Really hope it's not. The one thing that makes me think it's not, apart from the fact that the one I took away from the playlist was not in the copyright list, is the fact that this one, the lyrics are kind of like, I mean, I don't think this is an accurate thing to say, but kinda metal, right? The one I remember that was the claim one were like very, you know, the typical American guy that has like a very cool voice, like typically the people that sing country, except that it wasn't country, but it also wasn't a rough voice like this one. I guess actually the best example I could give is Johnny Cash, right? Sounded like those type of songs, you know? But yeah, this one certainly doesn't. Again, I'll let you know after the stream is done if I got the video vlog or not. Well, it will be vlog for the Israeli bros though. That's something that can be avoided, I guess. So, you know, at least that's something that I'm glad that there is some consistency, even though I disagree with both, because, you know, just like Russians are not guilty of what their government is doing, you know, Israeli citizens are also not guilty of what their government is doing. So I think that punishing both nations is ridiculous for something that is music, like something that is consumed by a regular person that is completely innocent from a conflict like that. But no, they do that because they feel like it. But yeah, at least here I see it happening in two countries whose governments are pretty much guilty of doing something very similar. So at least there is some consistency in the logic, but I still disagree, of course. Like, anything that is for entertainment should be available for everyone without exception, because you are not hurting the government, you are hurting the people. And if your argument is that the people are just as guilty, you are wrong. You are 100% wrong. In fact, Israel is a very good example of a place where the people, and a very big portion of the people, want the opposite of what the government wants. There have been mobilizations of people that are, like, the government wants to recruit to work for the military, and they are clearly opposing it. So that's the perfect example that no, whatever the government does is not the fault of the people. It never is. Never. No matter the context, it's not. So yeah, I'll never support this sort of blocking from copyright holders that are like, oh yeah, this piece of media is blocked there because, you know, their government is bad. Well, nice reasoning. Because, I mean, if that was the case, let's not go any further. The USA will have to be blocked from every single media company in the world. Obviously, most of the media companies in the world are in the USA, so that will be a little bit contradictory. But the point is that, yeah, I mean, if you like to go, you know, so firmly against Russia and Israel, well, the USA cannot possibly be spared if you use that sort of logic. And that also applies to many other governments in the world as well. But yeah, no. In the case of Israel, I mean, it happens in every country. I don't think that Israel is special in that regard, but like, you know that the amount of people that because of what Putin's government has done in Russia, like they say fuck Russians. And that is bigotry, of course. I mean, particularly xenophobia, because, you know, bigotry is a very general word. In this particular case, like, basically crossing off Russians simply because of what their government is doing, that's xenophobia. So yeah, that's something that happens regardless of, like, what nation we're talking about, like whether it's Israel, Russia, the USA even. Like, if, you know, you group government decisions with the people, yes, it can lead to a lot of people becoming bigots for associating the two, you know. I got it, please. Nice. That's the first time that an explosion gives me the win. I knew I was going for that, because in the previous raid that I exploded, it gave me a huge boost forward. Nice. Team, that was so good. Let's go. Team, that was so good. Okay, so that basically means that the first ones are all completed, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 11 is the first one with issues here. 2 second places, which is not bad. Then 13 with... Oh, 1... Okay, this one is the one that I didn't do. But I still was able to do the next ticket. But anyways, yes. My stance is obviously the one that I pretty much am constantly saying. Never associate common people of a country with its government, with their government, I mean. Like, that's a horrible idea, and it's always wrong. I mean, for example, try to associate me with my government. I hate my government. Like, I wish I could down them all in Minecraft, right? But no, I cannot do that, and more importantly, you know, I have to accept whatever bullshit they do because they are the government. That's the way it works. So yeah, the point is that that will be a very heavy mistake from you, from thinking that somehow because I live in this country I agree with my government. I don't. In fact, I'll go further. I hate every single government that touched this country in, like, I don't know, the last 20 years, maybe more. Well, maybe more, as long as I was alive, I guess. So, and they are all governments that are technically different ideologically. Like, you know, well, that's the thing about politics, right? Everyone can say that they are from a certain, you know, place of thought, ideology, I guess. But they all do the same thing. You know what that same thing is? Stealing. Stealing money that is obviously used or should be used for government-related stuff, but no, they steal it and they pocket it to themselves. Essentially corruption, right? Like, that's what classic corruption is about. Like, basically taking money that is not yours and using it for you. That's what political corruption is. Well, my country has been suffering that for pretty much multiple decades. And no matter what ideology the government says that they follow, they all have that in common. They are thieves. Not to mention also completely useless, because they don't solve issues. But yeah, Milei's secret account, I know. Yeah, specifically in my case, in Milei's case, he's like a very international president. Differently from the previous ones we had that most people don't even know their names. Most people, I mean, from outside the country, right? And they are, let me tell you, they are just as bad. Like, you might be thinking at Milei and looking like this guy is a clown, and you're right, he is. But so are all the assholes that were in the government before him. Like, at least the previous 5 assholes. It's just that some of them were very good at talking. Well, usually politicians are good at talking, but I'm trying to say that some of them in the past were like extremely good talkers, right? Like, we're talking about people that were very articulate, that very carefully choose. Well, actually, I have a popular example of that. Obama, like the ex-American president. Obama is an amazing talker. Like, the way he used to give speeches was perfect. Like, the word choice, the way he directed towards the listeners, right? Like, he was an extremely good, I think the word is orator. Like, he was extremely good at that. Now, if he was a good president or not, I don't know, because I'm not American, so I wouldn't know. Probably not for what a lot of people say, but I mean, it's also politics, so there are a lot of different opinions, but something that's undeniable is that the guy knew how to talk. And that also applies to a lot of our previous presidents here. A lot of people, unlike Milei, knew how to talk as civilized people, that you could believe what they were saying. Well, not just believe, but also like listen and be like them. What a good speech, even if they ended up doing anything but what they say, right? But they still did it very well, right? My fellow Americans, let me be clear. I'm not sure exactly what were their, like, his common phrases, but I heard a couple of speeches from him, and he does a very good show. Like, you could look at him in some speeches and think, oh, this guy is not like the other politicians. Like, this guy is actually good, right? I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Again, I'm not American, so I wouldn't know. But the point is that the way he talks, you could certainly get on board with what he was saying. And yeah, the same applies here. But regardless of that, what I can tell you is that here, regardless of how good they were at talking, I can guarantee you they were absolutely trash at governing. All of them. So yeah, the point is that, again, the same as the original point, do not put the common people of a country, do not put them at the same level as their government. It's never a good idea, because you might be thinking, well, we have democracy, so that means that the common people pick them. But democracy is a piece of shit. Nice, team barely won. See, it's pretty funny. I say democracy is a piece of shit, and the guy in second place is called King Leo, and the guy is like, yeah, bro, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree, my fellow monarch. No, monarchy is also a piece of shit. But yeah, the point is that democracy does not represent the will of the people for the simple, like, this is not like a deep discussion or anything like that. It's pretty simple. A politician can say something, and then once it's his turn in the government, do the opposite of what he says, and that's allowed. Like, that is allowed. Sure, he will lose support, but he's still there at the head of the government, or the head, or wherever he is, right? So just with that being allowed to happen, you can tell that democracy is a piece of shit. It wouldn't be a piece of shit if that was seriously penalized, like, and maybe in some countries it is the case, but here it isn't. Like, well, in fact, I remember our current president said a very, very funny and very famous quote. He said, if I have to raise a tax, I rather chop my arm off. Well, you know how many taxes he raised already? And he still has 2 arms. So basically, as long as politicians are allowed to do that, democracy is useless, because it's pretty clear that it's not the population, the one that is, you know, deciding, because they decided something, and then the guy that they choose to represent them is doing the opposite. So yeah, and you could argue, well, that's not democracy, like that's not well executed democracy, and you might be right, but I mean, so what? Like, what do we do then? Like, it isn't, so then what do we do? Like, how do we change it? Like, it feels to me that we might need another system. I don't know which one, but it's pretty clear that at least the democratic system is not very democratic, you know? It doesn't look like it. Yeah. I hope that with all of this shit, at least, well, I'm pretty sure that most of you didn't do it anyways, but I feel like at least if you did, like, basically meet the government with the people that are, you know, in that country behind that government, I hope that at least you realize that it's a bad idea to do so, and that they are independent from each other, and that what you should always hate is the government and not the people. Just remember that. Also going back to the original point, in the case of Russia and Israel, both governments are very easy to hate. Like, they don't make it very hard for you to hate them. They make every effort possible so you hate them. Well, so does the USA. Again, I want to also reinforce that point, because here I'm basically talking about two countries that might sound like, you know, foreign things. I mean, I guess any country is foreign if it's not your own, but the thing is that you might think that they are countries that, yeah, whatever, they don't matter, but no. Including the USA, a country that a lot of times is, well, a lot of times no, always is allowed to get scot-free from shit because they have the military power, of course, deserves all the hate it can get. The government, again, not the country. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But yeah, do not hate their people. They are not at fault. I do wonder though, in those well, actually in the 3 case. Also, how is it going, Mad? It's been a long time. How were you doing? I think it's been like, what, a whole year since the last time I saw you? How are you doing? How is life treating you? In my case, it's the same as always. I haven't changed a bit. I'm still the same moron. I haven't gotten even 1 IQ smarter. It's not about IQ, but I mean, no, I haven't gotten any smarter. But yeah, what about you? How is your life treating you? Was just basically talking shit about governments, which is pretty easy to do. Honestly, it's a very low-hanging fruit, thinking about it, you know, a little bit more. It's very easy to do that, and they give you all the reasons to do that. But I mean, that's like saying, you know, fuck cancer, cancer is bad. Well, yeah, no shit. Obviously. I mean, and it's a thing that I guess, sure, it's nice to say because it's true. Been chilling, sorry for vanishing. I was stalking your server from time to time since I never bothered to turn off the notifications. Big mistake, not turning off notifications. But you are doing fine. What, cancer? No, I'm just saying. No. I was giving an example that talking shit about politicians is a relatively low-hanging fruit because it's as easy as saying, you know, fuck cancer, right? Like, it's an easy thing to say because it's not only true, but it's also like a universal thought, pretty much. So yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah. No, don't worry about it, I'm healthy, okay? I don't have any issues, at least not physical. Mental, I don't know, I cannot confirm. But no, physically I'm doing pretty well. Well, in fact, I'm about to release my second fan game. Something that is probably not made for people that don't play I Wanna Be The Guy fan games. But it will be easier than the previous one at least, so hopefully people that don't usually play I Wanna Be The Guy fan games can still beat it. Assuming they want to play it, of course. So yeah, I guess that's the only new thing I have to share. But yeah, I mean, unless you're an I Wanna Be the Guy fan, I don't think that that will matter too much. But yeah, I'm very close. I will say that, well, the same prediction as I had at the beginning of the year, but the game will be ready in June. Like, there will have to be something very bad happening to me for the game to not be ready in June. Like, it will have to be ready in June. Well, to me or to the testers. Because ideally I would want to release the game after the testers are done testing it. But if for some reason the testers take a long time, well, I guess that will be a delay too. I notice you've been playing racing games a lot. Yeah. Well, racing games are essentially, you know, I was always a fan of racing games. In fact, I think that the earliest memory I have is playing a racing game. Well, the earliest memory related to video games, of course. But the thing is that on stream I usually didn't play them that often because I'm like, I think people are gonna find them boring. And I still think that. It's just that I kinda stopped giving a shit. Basically. Like, at some point I'm like, but who cares what people think? I wanna play a racing game, I'm gonna play a racing game. So obviously that's not a very good mindset if your idea is getting viewers, obviously, but in my case, I just don't care. Because, you know, viewers are not gonna come raining from heaven anyways. So... something very bad happening to me, like cancer. I mean, it's cool, though. If I somehow got cancer, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't know until after June. Like, even if I contracted it today, like, I'm pretty sure I will be able to release the game before I even know I have cancer, so yeah, don't worry about it. If it's something, it wouldn't be cancer, it will be probably worse. It will be me getting run over by a truck. So yeah, we don't want that to happen. So yeah, don't worry about it. Ah, shit. Honestly, you should think more about... Well, no, I mean, I do. I mean, after all, I've been playing like for 3 months straight, almost nothing but Need for Speed. Which is, well, obviously a racing game franchise. So yeah, don't worry, I've been thinking about me... Well, and it's not just because of like, fuck what everyone else thinks, I'm gonna play what I want. It's more about, like, you know, I don't have infinite ideas of what to play. So right now I'm having a lot of ideas for racing games and not many ideas for anything else, so... regardless of what other people might like or what I might like, racing games are just an idea that is popping up a lot in my mind. So that's the reason why you're also seeing it so much. Then, can these assholes stop pushing me? Holy fuck. They did not do anything there to gain an advantage themselves. They did it simply to piss me off. Well, there I didn't have much to do. It was either that or crashing against the car. There weren't many alternatives. But yeah, I am playing a lot of racing games. Indeed. But I also came to realize that racing games are pretty much the genre of video games that I enjoy the most playing. I don't think that there is another genre that I enjoy more, because yes, I like, for example, platforming games a lot, but I feel like I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoy racing games. It's possible. Right, this is not gonna work, isn't it? I mean, these races that I haven't won on the first try are gonna be hard to win in subsequent tries. But yeah, I gotta do it. There's no other way. Huh. Man, why are there so many assholes that want to get in my way? I don't get it. Like, what is your problem? Like, you're not doing what you're doing to drive better, to have a better racing. Like, you're just doing it to piss me off. So the question is why? Why are you such a piece of shit? Does it give you thrill? Probably. But I'll give you another thrill. See if you like it. See, for example, that guy pushed me simply to know... Okay, now... Why do I even try to defend you, you piece of shit? I was about to say he got out of the way to avoid the rock and then immediately he went all the way left for absolutely no reason and to his detriment. Why do I even bother defending these bitches? But yeah, don't worry about it. I will come out on top. It will happen. Whether they like it or not. Gotta go, I wish I could stay longer, but it's getting late. One day I'll swing by a stream and have a longer chit chat. Yeah, don't worry about it, you know that as I always say, the stream is not a show, like not for me, but also not for the viewer, so don't worry about it. Like, this stream is for whoever can and wants to be here. So if you cannot or you don't want, you don't need to. But it's always appreciated, of course. I'll always be stalking, alright. I'll keep it in mind. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out and have a good night. I'll be here driving. Feels bad, man. Well, because it's not a shop. Can you imagine if your shop was watching a streamer? Well, I'm assuming some people do have that as a shop, but they usually tend to be editors. So technically that's not their only show. Why did you do that? Can you give me like a 1,000-word essay explanation on why you flipped there, you stupid ass buggy? You are supposed to have domination on off-road terrains, and yet you do this shit to me. So my question is why? Why did you do that? What is the reason for that to happen? Yeah. Don't worry, I'm pretty sure the buggies will get buffed on the next game. You see, right now, they basically are very similar to a rally car, except that the rally car does absolutely everything better. It's a faster car, it's more reliable on hard surfaces, and it's the one that flips the least out of any vehicle. So yeah. Don't forget to write that 1,000-word essay in 12 points, Time New Roman, font with double spacing. But I mean, that wouldn't make a difference, because it wouldn't be about the amount of pages but the amount of words. So you can take like 10 pages or one it will still be a 1000-word essay. So yeah, use it with whatever font you like, whichever one you like the most. It won't make a difference. Alright, are you ready for an explosion? I know I am. But that's still not enough. He's way too far. Okay, fuck this race. I already gave you 2 attempts and you didn't give it to me. So you're gonna eat a dick instead. Wait, what does this one say? All silver, though. I do have all silver. Yeah, it's second place. And this one, yeah, I also have it. Alright. So it's a matter of simply finishing these 2. Problem is that this track fucking sucks, and it's also with a buggy to make things worse. Maybe I should pick a buggy that looks more sturdy instead of that piece of shit. It's just that... what the hell? Is that DD? No, it says... what does it say on the side? Kawaii... no, it doesn't say kawaii. It says Gakui Goi Chitoka. What? No, Gawai Goi Chitoka. Maybe that's the name. I don't know. A little bit weird, honestly. Yeah, sure, why not? Well, I wasn't that far off thinking that it's say kawaii. It's almost the same word. Most likely a fictional character, a double fictional character. Like fictional because it's obviously not supposed to exist in universe, but it's also fictional because, you know, it's meant to be fictional in universe. Differently from, I don't know, Samus in Metro, that is an actual existing character in that universe, even though obviously fictional to ours. But this one is fictional to both. It's pretty funny to think about, right? Like, double fictional characters are pretty cool, right? It's like an inception of fiction. Well, the thing is that... I remember that in Fairy Odd Parents. Like basically they had a superhero called Crimson Chin, and well, obviously he was meant to be fictional there, though that's very relative to say, because the whole point of Fairy Odd Parents is that actual in-universe characters are fairies that can grant wishes, and one of those wishes is bringing fictional characters to life, which they did. So, are they really double fictional? I don't know. Also, nice explosion, bro. But yeah. You watch that show too? Yeah, of course. I mean, Fairy Odd Parents is from 2001. Like, when in 2001 I was 5 years old. Well, I watched it a little bit older though. Like, I watched it when I was like 8, 9, around that. And yeah, Fairy Odd Parents is from 2001. So it makes sense. The Crimson Chin, my goat, of course. It's just that the Fairy Odd Parents is also one of those cartoons that kept going a very long time. Like, personally, I didn't watch any of the new seasons that have like the baby. I watched the movie that where the baby comes from, but like I didn't watch any of the new seasons with them. Well, I did watch, I think, a couple of episodes out of curiosity, but it kind of fucks with the dynamic. Like, it's one of those cartoons that it either should have kept the original dynamic or it should have ended. Because, I mean, if it was, like, I don't know, like an anime like Dragon Ball, where the idea is not that it's a pure comedy, but rather it's something that has a continuous story, then there it makes sense that new characters get introduced and the ones that are part of the main cast also change. But in something like The Fairy Odd Parents that is a comedy, no. It could work, it's just that it usually doesn't. So yeah. But yeah, it was funny, I guess. Not as funny as SpongeBob. That's what I remember. When I was a kid, obviously there were, in my mind, there were tiers for the cartoons. Though back then, I guess, I took SpongeBob for granted, because it was like, yeah, SpongeBob is very good, so what? But yeah, looking back now, then yes, SpongeBob was clearly one of the best ones, one of the funniest ones as well. But I do remember liking Kids Next Door a lot. Was very bizarre though, like extremely bizarre. And in fact nowadays I probably will be more what the fuck than anything else. But I do remember liking the lore. I mean, basically it was the closest that well, no, the closest would be Avatar: The Last Airbender, but as far as comedy cartoons go, I guess Kids Next Door was the closest to like a shonen anime, right? It was still a comedy first and foremost, while Avatar: The Last Airbender was actually made to essentially be as if it was a shonen anime. That's the identity it had. And Avatar: The Last Airbender, I remember, like, I watched it like a lot later. Like I didn't watch it when I was very young, but the little, well, I wouldn't say little, because I did watch quite a bit of it, but I do remember liking it, what I watched. It was also pretty hard back then in television to be able to properly watch all the episodes in order. It wasn't the easiest thing. So a show like that wasn't like a comedy show where you could watch any episode wherever you want, it was a lot harder to follow, because one episode, like, you see these guys being in like a frozen place, and the other episodes they are in like a desert, and they are like, what do these two things have to do with each other? So you lost a lot of context, obviously, if you didn't watch it in order. Yeah, that's what I remember. So these assholes are really getting in my way. That guy got instant karma, but unfortunately I'm not on the lead, and that's the end, isn't it? No, this one is the end. I blew up too early. That was an interesting screen split. Damn it, dude. I'm getting owned right now. Though, if I hadn't blown up, I don't think I would have won either. Wouldn't have happened. Because I don't think I have enough distance. Maybe if I waited to blow up more, maybe I would have won it. I feel like I was way too far. And I was too close to the explosion anyway, so I wouldn't be able to get any more boost, so I don't think I would have won it, though. At least I would have gotten second place. So there's that, but yeah, whatever. Too bad, but didn't happen. In any case, you gotta keep in mind at all, like, you're probably surprised because you're thinking, damn, you watch The Fairy Old Parents, even though it's not from your generation, right? Which in this particular case it is, but in my also particular case, I watch shit from like the 70s. Like shit like Tom and Jerry, the Pink Panther, you know, Mr. Magoo, like very old cartoons. I watched them too when I was a kid, not as an adult. Like to me they were old cartoons, you know, didn't make a difference if they were new or old. You could tell they were old. Well, in fact, that depends. With Pink Panther, it was pretty obvious they were old. With Tom and Jerry, you really couldn't tell. Like, maybe now that I'm an adult, I could be like, well, yeah, the animation techniques they use are clearly not modern. But back then, just looking at it from a quality perspective, Tom and Jerry looks so good, right? So to me, when I was a kid, I really thought that Tom and Jerry was relatively modern, only to realize that most of the episodes I watched were from like the 70s. Which was quite a revelation when I learned about it. But I don't know if the 70s or the 80s, not sure exactly which one. But I'm talking about basically the early ones, because yes, Tom and Jerry has like a lot of different seasons with completely different art styles, but I'm talking about the first ones, the ones that essentially had super high quality backgrounds, hand drawn of course, and the animation was extremely fluid. Not on the backgrounds, but I mean on the characters. So yeah, when it comes to cartoons, unless it's a cartoon that is so modern that there is absolutely no way I could have seen it as a kid, like, I don't know, Gravity Falls, I guess, as a random example, I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that for the simple reason that I was already, like, I don't know, in high school when that thing came out, if not older. I don't know, when did Gravity Falls even come out? I have no clue. Again, I didn't watch it, so I don't know what year it is from. Might be a lot more modern than I think, I don't know. Point is that yes, outside of those cases where a cartoon is super modern and I couldn't have watched it as a kid, basically anything goes. Anything, no matter how old it is, I probably not. Like, I could have watched it or not, but the thing is that it doesn't disqualify it. I could have watched it easily. I watched stuff in high school because of my little brother. I mean, I also watched some stuff in high school. I mean, I remember shit like Regular Show. And another one, Chowder. I thought that those fucking suck so much, dude. Like, I remember watching them, I remember thinking, man, this fucking shit sucks. And it's most likely because I was already too old, but I was like, what's the humor in this? And also everything looks so fucking ugly. Like, why would I want to watch this shit? And I remember Cartoon Network was shilling it like crazy. Like, oh, look at this Chowder shit, look at this. There was a guy that was kind of like a pirate. I don't remember the name of the cartoon. I think, no, I don't remember. But it was, I think, made by the same people that made Chowder, or at least it was just as ugly and just as unfunny. And I'm like, why would I watch this shit, dude? At least, well, to be fair to Regular Show, one thing I will recognize is that it has a lot more adult humor. But for Chowder and company, you have no excuse being so shit. There was a period of ugly Cartoon Network stuff. I think it's what they call CalArts, which is a shorthand for for California arts, because basically they are all taught in the same shitty art school and they all have the same shitty ass art style. So yeah. Yeah, regular show, as I say, was most likely that at the time I didn't find the humor pretty funny because it was aimed at an older audience, but then again it was probably aimed at me because I did watch it on high school, but I feel like even in high school I didn't really have like a liking for that sort of humor. But yeah, looking back, I do understand. It's kind of like Rocco's Modern Life. When I was a kid, I also didn't like that. Like, I thought Rocco Modern's Life was shit, but yeah, it's because it was not aimed at me. Like, I could have liked it, yes, but it would have been hard to like it in the way the authors intended because it was a very adult-oriented cartoon, and for what I hear, it's a very good one, but what I remember from watching it as a kid is that I didn't like it. But yeah, I, you know, needed to grow up, I guess. I like it to some extent, but it was bizarre as heck. Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, I guess if a cartoon was also overly bizarre, it kinda have like so I guess it depends on what you mean by bizarre, because nowadays you can easily look back and say that a lot of those cartoons were bizarre. For example, to me, even though I didn't understand it, when I was very young, the show Cow and Chicken, that show to me was like, okay, I didn't understand half the shit that happened there, right? But I was like, you know, it looks cool, even though it was extremely bizarre, right? But with Rocco Modern Life, I couldn't even look at it like that. Like, I didn't like the way it looked. So I guess art style in that regard is very important for a kid, right? And if it's very bizarre, I guess it might not be for the best. But yeah, as I say, it also depends on what counts as bizarre for a kid or not. I hated Cow and Chicken. Well, I did not like it either, in the sense that I wasn't a big fan of it, but it didn't look unnatural to me. Like, I would look at them and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it didn't cause me any rejection. But yeah, I also wasn't a big fan. Like, back then, like when I was very little, I think really the cartoons that I liked the most were like Tom and Jerry and most likely some Disney cartoons that still were aired back then. Because things like, for example, Kids Next Door, I watched when I was kind of like before high school, but not that far from high school. While, yeah, Tom and Jerry, I remember watching it since I was a very little kid, and I remember liking it. What other cartoon did I really like as a little kid? And again, a little kid, like not a, like more of an almost teenager. I promise that I don't remember. Obviously, it's been so long, I barely have any memories. Well, SpongeBob, I guess. I mean, SpongeBob is a classic. And I remember liking it a lot also when I was a kid. A little kid, right? Yeah, cartoons like that are all times classic. Well, even though I also didn't understand it back then, I like the way Johnny Bravo looked. It was pretty funny, just visually funny. Like, I did not understand any of the jokes in the show, because like they were mostly about, like, you know, a guy that thinks he's like a super macho guy that's constantly flirting, and the jokes are that he's a moron, right? So that sort of humor wasn't really something I could understand back then. But I do remember liking the way it looked. Like, he's just a funny looking character, you know? I mean, extremely well designed. It's one of those designs that is not only iconic but also immediately appealing. Like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, the guy that designed this did a very good show. As a little kid, I mostly remember the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Yeah, well, I remember watching Scooby-Doo, but I didn't like it too much. Mostly because I guess it was like the whole point of Scooby-Doo is that there was a mystery. And well, back then, even if I tried, I wasn't smart enough to understand the mysteries. So to me it was like I couldn't participate in it. Like, I sure will watch the animation and Scooby doing all this stupid shit and stuff, and Shaggy being a moron and all of that, but like, that was funny, I guess. But like, the whole point of the show, I couldn't really enjoy it too much because, again, I didn't really understand what was happening. But yeah, like, it was a little bit complex to me. In my case, it was more, well, something that I somehow forgot to mention, like a lot of Warner Bros. Shit like Bugs Bunny. That's something that I watch a lot too. Like, you know, Daffy Duck, Yosemite Sam, well, Elmer Fudd, like, those are cartoons I remember watching as a little kid and that they were pretty funny. Because when you're a little kid, you don't really understand complex stuff, obviously, so it's mostly about slapstick. You know, you understand slapstick, and those shows had a lot of that without getting into very violent shit. Well, Tom and Jerry did get into violent shit sometimes, but it was like a small proportion, I guess, of the really violent one. I mean, like, yeah, it had slapstick in every single episode. It's just that some of them were particularly violent. Well, not just violent, but also cruel, right? There was also Warner stuff. Yeah, exactly. Well, in my case, Animaniacs and Freakazoid, I don't really remember much of it. Well, in fact, I do remember watching Animaniacs, but I barely understood what I was watching either. So yeah, to me it was mostly yeah, Tom and Jerry, random Warner Brothers shit, and stuff like that, you know, like the very simple stuff. Well, another cartoon I remember a lot is Coyote and the Roadrunner, and that one is even more appealing to little kids because it has zero dialogue, and the premise is extremely simple. You have a coyote that is trying to hunt a roadrunner. But something like that, I remember liking it because I mean, pretty hard not to like it when you are a kid and it's something so extremely simple, right? It's basically a timeless humor. Well, timeless, and as I say, for all ages. There was some stuff I saw looking back, I was like, damn, this was way deeper than I ever knew. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, in my case, I guess, well, particularly, I remember, you know, Pixar movies like Toy Story. I mean, for me, Toy Story was super entertaining, but yeah, it had deeper themes, of course, like most Disney movies, really. I secretly cheer for the coyote. I also had that, probably with that show, but also with Tom and Jerry. I remember a lot of times, since Jerry was such an insufferable asshole a lot of times, I was cheering for Tom to win, and Tom sometimes does win, but for the most part it's Sherry winning. So sometimes I was like, come on Tom, you got this. Yeah. So sometimes you do want to cheer for like the supposed villains, because yeah, they are either pretty charismatic, or you can see them go through all that effort and be like, them, all of this for nothing, right? So yeah, them, they love everything hard, just don't expect a double ending there. Then these devs are perverts. It's fine. But what I was out to say is that yeah, I watch a lot of old cartoons, despite clearly them not supposed to be for my generation. But you gotta understand that in Latin America it's not a, well, I don't need to tell Clone Cat this, I mean for people that are not from here and might be like, why would you watch that? Is that here you basically just watch what you could. Sometimes the newest shit was not available, right? You gotta go. Yeah, see ya later, Clone Cat, and thanks a lot for hanging out. Hope you also have a good night. Well, I'm probably gonna do a couple more races, and I'm gonna go to... In fact, I think that's very literal. I think I will do literally 2 more races, and I'm done for the day. So yeah, don't you worry, I will follow after you real quick. TV stations will just get all cheap stuff. Yeah, exactly. It was basically a win-win situation. I mean, looking back from now, right? Like, looking back as an adult, a win-win situation, simply because those old cartoons were of very high quality. So yeah, they spend little money, but you also got a very high quality stuff. It's a win-win. But yeah, see ya. Nowadays I don't know what the kids are watching, because I obviously have no reason to watch cartoons. I could if I wanted, of course. I just don't see any reason to do it. Well, depends on what you call cartoons, of course. I mean, if you count Shosho as a cartoon, and it is from a technical perspective, of course, then yes, I still watch cartoons. I'm talking about cartoons that air in kids' channel aimed at kids. So that's the thing, kids' channels, that's not a thing anymore. Well, you have YouTube Kids, I guess, but the point is that TV channels that kids watch are not a thing anymore. Like, they watch shit in their phones. So at that point, it's basically whatever the platform qualifies as kid content. So I don't know which content they watch. In fact, they probably don't even watch like traditional cartoons anymore, right? Like, they probably watch stuff like YouTube shorts and memes and shit like that, right? It's not like they watch a full-blown like 12-minute story like it could be with, for example, the Fairy Old Parents, right? An episode that usually takes 12 minutes from beginning to end. I don't think that happens anymore, right? I think that nowadays it's mostly about consuming relatively short content. A lot of it, like lots of short content, but like that's it. Like nothing, anything that is too long. Maybe I'm wrong again. Not only I have no reason to watch cartoons right now, but also I don't have any reason to interact with kids, so I wouldn't know what they are watching or not watching. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that the concept of like a cartoon that you watch as like a singular thing. It's not really a thing anymore. You just watch whatever the social media feed gives you, right? Which most likely are cartoons, right? But it's not like they are the full thing, right? I don't know. I personally don't know how it will be to grow up in the current internet era. I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad. I mean, it's bad for me because I wasn't born with it, but I mean, I don't know. They certainly probably don't have any issue with that. And it will be a normal thing. Well, it's also what we were talking about earlier. Something that is normal for a younger generation will become the norm later on. And if the consumption of short content is the norm, then it's the norm now and it will be the norm later, until something eventually replaces it, of course. But I don't know what could replace it. It's one of those things where, again, you will need to read the future, and I cannot do that, unfortunately. Something. Most likely brain implant cartoons or some shit. As I keep saying, impossible to speculate about the future when there are so many uncertain variables, right? You cannot possibly know. No one can. Anyways. No one can predict if I'm gonna win this race, but I personally believe I can. My prediction is that I will win this race. Will it become true? Well, only time will tell, but thankfully the time needed for that to tell is only a couple seconds. Well, not a couple literally, but like 10 seconds. So who wins? Ooh, team, another photo finish. Holy shit. Damn, that was so nice. I was ready to blow up, but I realized that I did it too late. But I did get it. Alright. So let's do, as I say before, one more race. Because that's what I promised. Like I said, a couple of races, and this is the second one of the couple. So let's just do it real quick. That looks nice. Embrace the dirt, bully the bikes, have a ball. Well, I don't know, brother. Seems like they are more like conventional vehicles than bikes in here. So I'm not sure who is the one that's gonna get bullied. Well, no, I know, it's gonna be me. Oh, by the way, this will be the last race regardless of the result. So even if I not even get into the podium, which means not qualifying, it does not matter. Also, that's instant karma for taunting me in the air, stupid bitch. Trying to make fun of me, and then you land like you did. It's the least you deserve. But I can do that too. I can make fun of other competitors too, and I will. Ah, fuck. Oh shit, damn. Ah. Cox. Also, how is it going, Kyle? You came right for the final race of the stream. So I cannot promise winning it, and especially not driving a shitty ass quad at that. But yeah, we will see. You can laugh at them. Yeah, laugh at this moron. Okay. The problem here is that yes, anything that is not a bike or a quad, you enter in contact with them and they are gonna get rid of you. Even unwillingly, it doesn't matter. Like, you are not gonna survive a collision with those guys. Well, see, right there I didn't survive a collision with a quad, and that was pretty funny. Because the quad perfectly hit the driver. Somehow. Well, somehow, yeah, it's called physics. But yeah, I got very unlucky. I mean, it's one of those things that, yeah, if you use a shitty ass quad, it's gonna happen. But here I don't particularly have a choice, you know? So yeah, shitty ass quad is what we'll need to use. Okay. No. Okay. You didn't hit that, dude. Like, yes, I saw that rock. I'm not blind, but I went to the right of that rock. Come on. Okay, and then there is the random thing where you just crash against you crash against an evil spirit. Oh, by the way, Kyle, since you're here, you know I was wrong. Ukraine actually participates in Eurovision this year. It's just that I was not aware that there was another semi-final left, the one that played today. Their song is kinda trash though. Like, unfortunately, no. But it seems like with this new semi-final, a new favorite to win is Bulgaria. Because it has a pretty catchy song, you know? Yeah, but if they are participating, that doesn't mean that they are gonna win. But, you know, one of the favorites, well, the favorite to win today is very easily Bulgaria. Like, if we just use the participants that participated today, Bulgaria is at the top. So yeah, the song has a very stupid name, and the song itself is very stupid. I think it's called Bangaranga. Yes, it sounds as stupid as it is. But yeah, it's very catchy, and also the girl that sings it is quite hot, so it's like a lot of people are obsessed with that song. So yeah, Bulgaria is a favorite to win, which is something. I mean, why not? I know absolutely nothing about Bulgaria. I think it's one of the Slav countries, right? I think. That's about everything I know. There was also another one that was, well, like, I don't remember if it was Romania or someone else that was a song where the chorus said, choke me. It basically was a BDSM song. And yeah, also sung by a hot girl, so yeah, everyone is like, oh shit, this one. Yeah, I think that was Romania. Maybe I'm confusing it with another one, but yeah, I think it was Romania. Aside from that, I don't know if the participants from today were able to shine too much. Did you choke her? No. Did you choke something else? No, I also didn't. Believe it or not. Look, my favorite to win is still Finland. And I mean, I guess that wouldn't have changed regardless of if I like a song of today, but Finland is still the one I will keep cheering on. And a lot of people also have it as a favorite to win. So it might win. I also heard a Greece song that I said was a favorite. I mean, I guess it's catchy, but I don't really see it as that good of a song. But I mean, sure, I guess, why not? It could win. But yeah. There are also a lot of like lyrical slow songs, and I think that those are not gonna win. No, Tim, if that guy actually caused me to crash, well, doesn't matter because I crash anyways. Fuck. And this is not gonna be even a podium finish, that sucks. But I say what I say, that I will finish the stream regardless of the result. So check this podium. Nice. It's not perfect, but hey, I'll take it. I will most likely redo it later as well, but yeah, so far the only ones we don't have this one completed. Yeah, because of the first one in Mud Pool. So we have, well, that and 11. 11 actually has 2 non-completed ones. That's a problem, but it's fine. I mean, so far it seems that the only requirement is silver to keep advancing, so as long as you have a second place, it is enough. So, first of all, I hope that the song that I removed from the playlist was the right one, so I don't need to mute anything today. If it isn't, that sucks, but I promise I'll have it properly removed from the playlist by the next stream. And well, if it is, then great. Like, yeah, no muting. We will see how it goes. So hey, thanks everyone a lot for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next stream with more MotorStorm. So have a good one and take care.